We want to welcome Francesca in studio. Love Bites is underway.
Good morning, Rob and Beth. Great to be here.
Glad to have you, Francesca. We got a good question for you if you're ready for it.
I'm ready.
All right, a listener wrote in. They said, I love all your bites of love and the analysis of various topics, but I'm looking for something more specific. I just don't know how to say no. Constantly overwhelmed with saying, I will, when I don't want to. It has really taken a toll on my life. There are so many self-help books out there. I wish there was just one with a list of responses for saying no.
I couldn't agree more. I've looked for those books. They don't exist.
Right.
So you've morphed into an ever-expanding sponge. Saying yes, become a permanent tattoo. Sure sounds like it, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You got to get used to that awkward feeling of saying no until it's not awkward, obviously, anymore. So we're going to go right to the preset button and get to it. First, why do we say yes when we want to say no? Well, I have a couple of thoughts here. I think it's to avoid disappointing someone or maybe damaging a relationship. There's that fear of rejection. There's that fear of confrontation. The fear. It's all about fears, right? Fear of being judged, criticized, or experiencing conflict. You're afraid of feeling guilty. That's a biggie. That's huge. So some people feel really a strong sense of obligation to say yes to requests because they are people pleasers, right? So why should you say no? And here's a couple of reasons, okay? Because you know you deserve to treat yourself with respect. No one else is going to do it if you don't. And there really is no perfect time, so just do it. So what are your thoughts, Rob and Beth?
Well, I think Rob and I think Francesca, I think you know that I'm not a stranger to saying no and putting my boundaries out there.
No,
and
she isn't.
Rob is.
Rob is the exact opposite. That's why we are yin and yang as a team.
Yeah.
But here,
and a
listen.
great one at that. Yeah.
I found that out pretty early.
Yeah, I'm not a horrible person. I know Rob was like, you're going to work at this desk. And I said, no. Rob.
No, it was very unusual.
But listen, I think there is a balance with no. Of course, if somebody asks you something and then you really feel in your gut that it's not the right thing for you to do, then I think that you should be very kind in your way to say no. Be like, listen, I understand, blah, blah, blah with you, but I cannot do that at this point. But then we also have this more casual social element of no, where I feel like people these days have gotten flakier and flakier. I think if a friend comes to you and goes, hey, listen, I have this event. I really want you to come with me. And you really do not want to go to that event. I think sometimes you have to compromise with yourself and be like, I need to say yes to my friend and support them, even if I don't want to go to that event and say no to the event. In the end, you want that person to show up for you at the end of the day. So you really got to pick and choose where you say no. Feel for this listener because they're searching through self-help books or trying to find a list of no. The real solution is always listening to your gut and soul and doing what's right. And I tell this to everybody, if you stay true to yourself, you can never go wrong.
Right. Well, you know what you might want to just consider doing? Just take one of those Post-it things and kind of post this everywhere. And here's some things that you could say. That won't work for me. Right? Simply.
Yeah.
I can't give it the attention it deserves.
Yeah.
It's not a priority for me right now. I have other priorities that I have to put first. Right? So, but then there are...
Instead of me?
So funny. I also think, Francesca, can I bounce off of that really quickly?
You sure can.
I think if you say no and then offer them an alternative solution, maybe one that they've never thought about before, you kind of help them get where they need to go. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can't do this for you, but I can offer you an alternative solution that you may, it may help you and you may enjoy incorporating into your own life. And I've had a lot of success with that, actually.
Or, it's not going to be that way, but let me tell you a little bit about my way. Are you open to other ideas? My experience tells me that won't work, but have you considered? I agree with what you want to do, but I want to change a few things. Now, of course, I am giving this advice, but we all know that that's not necessarily
Put it into practice.
My personality. It can be it's a very challenging thing, so I don't want to minimize how difficult it really is and make light of it. There are some things, though, that I think are very, very important to mention here, and the worst thing you can say when you're clear about saying no is, oh, let me think about that, or maybe, or let's talk about that, because it leaves the person person kind of hanging. If it's a no, it's a no. And no is a complete sentence. We've heard that, right?
I do that a lot.
Yeah, you do that, Rob.
You do what?
I mean, I think...
Rob,
you do that.
I do the maybes and we'll think about it.
Rob, I hate that.
I know.
I'm sorry. We'll think about it usually makes it mean that thought is going to purgatory.
Oh, boy. I've said to Rob that sometimes the most respectful thing you can do is being straightforward and communicate well with that person. Yeah. And also, I don't want this listener to think that they're going to grow this muscle overnight. This is a lifelong thing.
Yeah. That's right. So you got to get a toolkit. You know, there is actually a woman that I interviewed many years ago. Her name is Valerie. I don't remember her last name, but I do remember the name of her book, and it was called Thoughtfully Ruthless. And she actually had, I remember mentioning, if you only had an actual chapter, you know, where you give pointers of what you can say. And she said, well, I do. And so again, the name of that book is called Thoughtfully Ruthless. And it's really these kinds of, things to say. If you keep them in your mind, if you post them on your refrigerator, you post them on your bathroom, mirror, whatever, right? It does help. And the more you practice, like you said, Beth, that muscle, you have to really build that muscle. And I'm still working on it. And Rob, I think you might be too. Beth, I don't know.
I do have to, I'm situational, definitely. You always got to work on it. It's a lifelong thing. I say yes to stuff that I want to say yes to, but then I have to dig myself out of that hole when I say yes to something that I really did not want to.
No, but I think you're right, though, is you can't have it be only the stuff you want to go. I think that is important. You're right. You'll do that for a friend if says, hey, I want you to go do this. And, you don't go to everything, but every once in a while you're going to go to what they want to see.
Yeah, you got to compartmentalize your no's. If your friend really needs your support, I say you say yes to your friend. You're saying no to the event inside of your mind, but you're doing it for your friend.
Yeah, and what do you do when you've said yes, even though you really didn't want to, and then it's time, and then you really don't want to do it? What do you do?
I get up and go.
You'd get up and go. Yeah. All right, get up and go. All right, thank you so much for that question. We hope that helped you.
We hope it does. And when you need to get up and go, one of the best romantic things you can do is get on a High Line. Join High Line aboard a Cape Cod Canal cruise. Enjoy a leisurely sightseeing cruise with live commentary about the history of the canal and points of interest, or try one of their summertime specialty cruises, from sunset cocktail to bingo to trivia to yacht rock to live music. Visit HighlineCanalCruise.com. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think we all agree to that. We all say yes to High Line.
Absolutely. And stay tuned next week when we give away a Cape Cod Canal sightseeing cruise.
Oh, that'll be fun. I love that. All right, always get your Love Bite questions in. You can text them into the radio station, 781-837-4900, and tune in later on. Talk with Francesca, or I should say the Francesca Luca Show. I'm still going back to the old name. But in any event, Francesca Luca is still the host. That has remained the same. That's tonight at 8. Thank you, Francesca.
Thank you, Rob and Beth.